There's this one webtoon that I've been reading recently, which I've been really enjoying. This is a revenge story, but more than it being a revenge story, this is a story about billionaires getting what they deserve. And quite frankly, that is the most enjoyable part of this comic to me. Reborn Rich is genuinely a really good story, and I'm going to be going over all of the reasons why in this video, so strap in and watch as we go over the webtoon series known as Reborn Rich. Reborn Rich is a revenge story first and foremost, and a really good one at that. We are seeing the main character fight for his survival in a family that only cares about one thing. He is doing everything in his power to take down the people who wronged him in his past life. But in saying that, he also does grow a bond with his grandfather, which is surprising considering who his grandfather is. But this bond will also help him get his revenge on the rest of the family that wronged him in the past. He is using all of his knowledge to try to overcome this powerful family by slowly stripping away all of their power. This story really manages to tell a really good revenge plot in a really interesting way that sometimes you forget this is a revenge story, but in a really good way. I love the power struggle that goes on in the story. We are constantly seeing all the family members fight to try to acquire more power and assets to take over the company once the grandfather dies. This power struggle is so fun to watch because we get to see how different levels of competence leads to different outcomes. Most of Dojun's family are really stupid and spoiled and really have no business even being in the conversation of taking over the business because they would just completely destroy the company's reputation and have the company come crashing down. And although that would be fun, in order for Dojun to get his revenge, he has to take over the company, which means he has to do whatever he can to stop his family from gaining any more influence while also increasing his own influence at the same time. The power struggles are fun to watch play out. The series has done a wonderful job of showing you that even people who start off with good intentions can very easily be corrupted by power and money. Dojun is acquiring power, money, and influence for a good cause. His family are terrible people who do not need to be in power, however, in trying to stop his family, he is becoming just like them in many ways. The only line he hasn't crossed yet is killing people, and I don't think he will ever do that, but he manipulates situations to be more favorable to him and lies and cheats his way to the top, like a lot of his family also has done. Dojun has shown that the power and influence he holds over people is affecting him. There are still 2, maybe 3 people who hold him in check, and those people are his grandfather, who actually values hard work since he did work hard for the fortune he has, his father, who is another person who supports Dojun but also lets him know when he is crossing a line, and we also have Mr. O. He is like Dojun's mentor. He is teaching him about business and helping him get the experience he needs, but he is also just a partner to Dojun. They can both talk to each other about strategies and how to make more money and exchange information they know. This comic does an incredible job at showing us how easily corrupted people can be once they obtain money and power. This story also lets us see how much people with no money would do for money. We see people who are in bad situations get taken advantage of and used and then thrown away when they are no longer useful. This is exactly what happened to Dojun in his previous life and why he hates his family so much and is seeking revenge. Dojun has not crossed that line fully yet and he probably never will, however he is learning those skills and is still utilizing them to an extent. We are slowly seeing how just offering a bit of money to people in bad situations can get people to do things that they normally wouldn't do in order to at least protect their families and provide for them. This comic shows us the dark side of many different people and how that can really affect the whole world. The mind games in this comic are insane. This story is structured like a shonen manga would be, except it's not a battle shonen and more of a series like Death Note. There's always something going on in this series and we see how the manipulation of characters keeps taking place. We also get to see the plans put into action to take people down and how it's going to affect everybody. But just seeing all the mind games happen all the time is awesome and really makes the story super enjoyable. The character writing in this series is amazing. Actually, I love how each and every character is written. Dojun is a great protagonist of this story. He's smart and he's driven, and that allows him to achieve a lot of success. Of course, a little bit of knowledge of the future helps a ton as well, but besides that, he is just entertaining. You want to see him succeed after seeing how much all the people around him suck. Well, not everyone, but we'll get into that in a second. One of these characters that doesn't suck is Mr. O. I don't know his first name, so that's what I'll call him. Anyway, he is a good role model and also a good partner for Dojun and is someone who can help Dojun apply his knowledge and give him a lot of experience working in this kind of environment. He listens to Dojun and they both work as good partners to each other. Plus, he actually has a moral compass and gets really pissed off when he sees the exploitation of people by some of these other companies. He's a good guy who also works really hard. Another character I want to talk about is Dojun's grandfather. This guy isn't good, but he's not bad like his children and most of his grandchildren. He does bad things every once in a while, but really, he isn't that bad in comparison to other billionaire CEOs. He knows how to leverage things to help himself in any situation, and he even knows how to manipulate people into doing the things that he wants. But he really isn't so bad. He is, at the very least, a good influence on Dojun. He is someone who has helped Dojun a lot, whether it be giving him advice or just directly helping him out, and he always tries to be a good influence on his grandson. It is actually pretty cool to see the two sides of this character, and how he can completely change up depending on who he is talking to. Most of the rest of Dojun's family are pieces of shits. They are all spoiled brats who don't know what hard work is even if it smacked them across the face. They all lie and cheat their way to the top and will do anything to try and get more power and influence in the company. Quite frankly, I'm glad that they're antagonists of the story because I really hate all of them. But there are also some good side characters who are alright, like Dojun's father, mother, and brother. But that is really about it. Honestly, there are some others, but they have appeared so little in the story that they aren't really that relevant. But yeah, the characters are good. Reborn Rich is a really good story about a guy who gets reborn in the family that he wants to get revenge on, and that is exactly what he plans to do now that he is in the family. This comic takes a lot of twists and turns, but overall it is a really good experience that I recommend you give a read. And that was the video. If you liked it, maybe think about dropping a like, and subscribing as well, it helps out a ton. And if you do decide to join the community, then I guess I'll see you next week with another video. Bye!